Hey folks, sometimes being a good Christian means being a bad Roman. This has been the stance of the Bad Roman Project since its inception, and we have consistently held to this principle. Ancap Tim liked the statement so much, he turned it into music and he added it to his newest album titled It's Not Left versus Right. So I invited Tim back on the show to discuss this and much more.
Welcome to the Bad Roman Podcast. The Bad Roman Project was created out of the firm belief that as Christians, we are called to follow Christ, not the state. Here is your host, Craig Hargis.
Tim, welcome back to the Bad Roman Podcast.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So what have you been up to other than making music? Like, you know, I don't think we really need to like any more background on you because you've been on the show before, but like, let's catch up a little bit. I know you're staying busy with social media and doing a lot of different things with your music and your whole Ancap Tim persona. And it seems like you're reaching a lot of people, and I've been very impressed with what you're getting done out there. And I'm really happy that you were on our side because you know a lot of things about a lot of different things. So what have you been up to?
I appreciate that. As far as personal life, just been homeschooling and homesteading, raising some ram lambs for meat, and doing that thing. Been doing my own hay this year, so that's been a fun learning curve to figure out how to get a bunch of old iron and fix it up because I can't buy new farming equipment. So I'm having to buy stuff from the 60s and the 50s. Even I got a 53 Ford Jubilee tractor, and me and my dad have had fun working on that. It's been some good bonding time and working on that old iron and getting it working, and did hay, the first cutting, and second cutting's coming up. And so that's what's been going on personally with the homestead and homeschooling. And social media, I've kind of got, I don't know, my wife jokes, she's like, you got something for every dang day of the week. You know, it's like you got Spooner Sunday. And then I've got Two Kingdoms Tuesday, which ties pretty directly into kind of what you're doing with Bad Roman. It contrasts between God's kingdom and the kingdom of this world that Satan is the ruler of. And then Wheels of War Wednesday, it's an anti-war little short. And all these are short. All these are around 2 to 3 minutes. Just some people criticize that. And a lot of people in our movement, they like long format stuff. And I have no problem with long format. I just think if we're going to reach people, the short format is probably a underused tool in our movement. Everybody wants to go on a rant for 3 hours on a YouTube channel, and I'm not knocking that. I think there's other ways to reach people. Most people, the normies out there, are not going to watch a 3-hour discussion, but they might watch a 2-minute short. And so that's what I'm trying to do with some of these. So the Wheels of War Wednesday is just an anti-war show. I always I love antiwar.com, so I try to give them some traffic, and I'll pick an article from their opinion pieces and then do a little summary on it, and then to wrap up the week, I've got Free Market Friday. And right now we're going through the history of central banking, and that's been an interesting study. I've read The Creature from Jekyll Island and other different books that have kind of connected the dots between the Federal Reserve and the central banks and everything. But I've never really looked at it from the start, like square one with the Rothschild family there in Germany. And so it's been a good history lesson to come through. And that actually got me banned on TikTok. It was the irony of it. It was really crazy because I'm doing an episode and I'm talking about World War II and how that the Rothschild banks, the central banks, funded Hitler, and talking in the same time period that Henry Ford and the different ones that are starting to kind of put the pieces together, but they're going too far to like racism and collective blame. And so they're blaming all the Jews for central banking and blaming, Jews for everything. And I'm like, that's a trap. That does nothing but benefit the central bankers, because with World War II and the Holocaust, what Hitler did, he blamed the Jews collectively too. And it enabled the Zionists to basically get what they've been working for 100 years is their homeland. So it's like collective blame, number one, it's evil, it's statism, it's racism, it's collectivism. But number two, it does nothing but help the central bankers. And so that was the episode. But because I mentioned the Rothschilds and Israel and different things like that, TikTok had
Yeah.
banned me. Didn't even give me a warning, just gone, done. So that was interesting. So I haven't tried to get back on TikTok. Just TikTok used to be really good before they had to sell to. Well, it's interesting that the guy they sold to, the primary shareholder of TikTok in the United States, is a big Zionist. So that you kind of figure out why I probably got banned. But so yeah, you can find me on Facebook and X and YouTube and Instagram and all that. So I figure I got enough going on with those social medias. I'm just going to stay off TikTok. But yeah, that's kind of recaps a lot of the little short shows that I've been doing.
Yeah, I don't spend a lot of time on TikTok, and the only time I ever do get on TikTok is if somebody sends me a video. Because I've got sucked into TikTok before, and I'm like, man, I just wasted so much time watching these videos. So I don't ever get on there. And I mean, people have told me we should do something with the show on TikTok, and it probably help get more eyes on the project. But if they're behaving like that, I mean, we're still having trouble with YouTube sometimes. Like we're kind of walking around on eggshells when it comes to YouTube sometimes with some of the stuff I say or some of the stuff that the guests might say. We've been dinged a couple of times, and our content has been suppressed because of it. But
Oh yeah.
if I've got to dance around what we're saying, I don't have no use for a platform that's going to try to keep me silent. I don't want to be a part of it. If you don't want to hear the truth, then don't go to
Right.
don't come to the Bad Roman Project, because we're going to tell you. Don't go to Ancap Tim, because you're going to tell you the truth. And a lot of those people are pretty sensitive when it comes to Israel. I've noticed. I've got a guy I work with. He was talking about he got TikTok removed. I don't. He talks a lot of trash about Israel too. I don't know what all he says. I think he gets his news from TikTok, which I think's a good idea.
Yeah.
But they banned him. I don't know what all he said, but
Yeah.
he's apparently, whenever they sold to, did they sold to somebody in America, right? You said,
Yeah. Yeah. I had his name in the tip of my tongue, and now it's gone out of my brain. Um, but yeah, he's a well-known Zionist, and he doesn't own it outright. He just definitely has controlling interest in it, in the America side of TikTok. And before, man, it was like the Wild Wild West on TikTok. It
yeah,
really was. It was great, and that I grew a following on TikTok. It was probably TikTok was my best platform, and then it changed hands, and you could definitely see it how it would throttle you back, almost the way YouTube does me. I mean, YouTube will throttle me too. Like the history of central banking on YouTube does the worst of any of the things that I post, because I'm telling you, I think just saying central banking and Rothschild, Zionist, anything like that just flags you immediately,
yeah.
and they're going to throttle you back. But so I noticed starting to be throttled on TikTok, and so Meta seemed to be more free than TikTok. It grew into that. Like TikTok used to be definitely the more wild wild west, but then it just kind of overnight just changed. It's where Meta is like the where you can speak freely now, and then TikTok is, like, of course, they'll ban you in a heartbeat there. So it's funny how they just watch things change. But I mean, that one we can pretty much link to the way that TikTok has changed hands from the Chinese company to now in America, it's owned by a Zionist. I mean, it's like this is not even stretching to saying these things now. It's like, duh, here we go. You can't speak against Israel.
Yeah, and they're always talking about how tyrannical the Chinese government is when it comes to stuff like this, and it turns out America might be just as tyrannical or worse sometimes on some of this stuff. I mean, I think that's something that people really need to start paying attention to, is they are trying to silence us
Hmm.
in America. I mean, free speech is not free. It's not there. You don't have that anymore.
Right.
I saw something earlier, and I don't know, sometimes it's hard to tell some of this stuff is real, but there was a guy, the Department of Justice arrested a guy because he said something about we need to become ungovernable. And I
Hmm.
don't know if what the whole context of all of it, because that's all they said. They didn't say anything else what was going on with it. But you're arresting people for saying something like that. I don't know if that was the reason he got arrested, but they did say something about it in the press conference about him saying that. I'm like, we should all strive to be ungovernable, you know. And if if that hurts the government's feeling, they, they can kick rocks as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, exactly.
We should be able to say what we want without any fear of being put in a cage because
Yeah.
of words. It's so silly to me how sensitive people are, and I think that's funny too when you look at the right now. And this we'll get to the topic at hand at some point, but when you get to look at the right, remember how they used to call like the left a bunch of snowflakes and stuff. And if you speak anything against Trump or MAGA or anything right now, they turn into absolute snowflakes. And I like just when I see it, I just like posting a GIF on there of a snowflake, and I don't say anything
Yeah.
else. It's like y'all are acting just like what you accuse the left of doing.
Oh, and they've done that for years. But the whole cult of personality behind Trump, I think, is definitely made it way worse.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I used to be that guy that was such a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can speak to it because we were there.
Yep. And Larry Ellison, that's the guy who the pro-Israel, pro-Zionist guy that owns the majority share of TikTok.
I don't know a lot of these names, but for some reason that name does sound familiar.
They build their temples out of stone, but my heart's an altar of my own. Their empires go, I can't buy my soul. I won't bow down to Caesar's throne.
Okay, this song, I remember when we recorded the last episode, the last time you were on the show, you saw the banner behind me, I think, that we had made, and you started talking about it, and you asked me if you could do a song about it. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. That sounds great.
No, you were telling the story of talking to a pastor at selling salsa, and you just said it. You were like, you told him, well, bad Roman, it means, sometimes being a good Christian means being a bad Roman. And with you saying it all together like that, I don't know, it was like, I'd heard the concept bad Roman, of course. I mean, I followed you for a couple of years now, so that wasn't new, but you saying that line all together, just for some reason, it clicked right in that moment. I was like, oh, that's a song. We got to do this.
Yeah. And the song is fire. I love it. And I'm not saying that just to stroke your ego or because the song is about the project or something we talk about as far as the project's concerned. It really is legit. Like, and maybe it's just my type of music. Like it's got a real bad Roman-esque feel to it. I don't know if that's a word. I don't know if I just made up a new word, but
yeah, it's definitely like a Southern rock. Even a little bit. I don't sing like Axl Rose, but it has a little bit of a what is the band?
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses meets maybe Bon Jovi. It's got a little bit of pop to it as well. So it's kind of like, Guns N' Roses meets Bon Jovi, with some Southern rock in there too. I mean, because my vocals got a little Southern in it, no matter what I try to do.
Yeah, I was trying to decide when I was listening to it what genre it was. At first, I was like rockabilly, and I was like, I don't think there's enough Billy in it to make it rockabilly.
Probably not.
Then I was kind of like some country rock, maybe. Maybe that. And you said, and you told me channeling your inner Guns N' Roses. I was like, I can kind of see that too. Now you don't sound like Axl Rose, but it was also
No.
the music. I could see it just the way it was flowing. It's like a bad Roman hype song. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my vocal is definitely going to bring it. If even if it has a really rock edge to it, my vocal is going to bring it a little bit more Southern rock, country. Even though nothing that I do is over the top country, I don't have anything with fiddle or steel guitar in it necessarily. But yeah, my vocal is going to always pull it back to that little bit of Southern territory.
Sometimes being a good Christian means being a bad Roman. With the swords raised high, I'll keep on hoping in the King of Kings and not a Roman token.
Yeah, it kind of like some of this newer country music, and I don't know how you feel about. I don't really care for the newer country music. But some of it's got a nice beat and nice vibe to it, even though it's just some of the lyrics are trash. But the music behind it sounds pretty good. But your lyrics were excellent. The music behind it was excellent, and I kind of want to talk about the lyrics and how you formed the song going along because, and I wrote a couple of them down that really stood out to me. Is in the very beginning of the song, you're talking about I won't bow down to Caesar's throne, and then you keep going, and then you just go into this, and I serve a king who will never die. And I was like, and then bam, and then it just takes off. The song takes off, and it gets really kind of more upbeat, and it just the way it flows was perfect to me.
I serve a king who never dies. Sometimes being a good Christian means being a bad Roman. When the sword's raised high.
There's one line right before the line, I serve a king who never die. It says, chains on the earth don't bind the sky.
I won't bow down to Caesar's throne. Chains on the earth don't bind the sky.
That line came from, there was a sci-fi show called Firefly. And it was about basically these smugglers that were, it's really anarchist, like, because the government's always trying to stop them and they're just trying to make a living, and there's a line in that song, the theme song, that now I'm drawing a blank, but you can't chain the sky, or something along those lines, and I was like, that's cool. So I definitely, I'm not ashamed to say I borrow stuff from other places. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. You might as well just get over that as an artist, and pick some of the things that really speak to you and use them, reuse them. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody does it anyway. So yeah, that's kind of what was my thinking, was I want to contrast between Caesar and Christ. That was the whole point of this song, because it seems like in the church today, there's such a mixing of church and state that it's just like we were talking today. We're recording this on Father's Day, and church services. There's so many of them that revolve around government holidays. Whether it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Veterans Day. It's like we're just so intertwined with Caesar that it's like, can you find Christ in a lot of churches? I know you can. I know, I'm not saying that we're hiding Christ, but it almost, sometimes it feels like that. Like we're so pro Caesar that we can't see Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's an infestation of the church too. I don't know how else to describe it, and I feel like there's some people kind of waking up to it, waking up to, but it's not in the numbers that I would hope to see, especially when this is another thing too. Maybe I get different. I have different interactions with people out at farmers markets when we talk about stuff like this than I do with people on social media, because sometimes it's hard to tell if you're talking to a bot. If you know what I'm saying. I posted something the other day. I don't know if you saw this, and I don't remember what the post was about, but all within like 2 minutes, I had over 150 reactions. I knew none of these people,
Yeah.
and they were flooding the comment section with comments. I don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, it's a bunch of bots. I'm like, where did this come from? Because that's never happened on my personal page. It wasn't even on the Bad Roman page. Right. It was very strange to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know sometimes if I'm talking to a bot or if I'm talking to an actual person.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had that same experience. And in some ways I'm like, if it's not bots and they are some legit people, it's almost like, well, good for Meta for at least throwing my stuff out to other people that wouldn't normally see it.
Yeah.
So I think it goes a little bit both ways. It's good, but then it's, if it is bots, then it's like, well, then what's the point? It's not really getting out to anybody. But I think maybe their intention is just to flood it with bots, but in doing so, I have noticed that the normies are seeing more of my stuff, and like the typical Republican, and so I've had some good engagement with some of those people, especially on Spooner Sunday. Because I mean, there's nothing that triggers like a constitutional conservative like Lysander Spooner, because I mean, he just tells you what the Constitution is. I mean, it's either uh, uh, it was designed to be what it is, the tyrannical government that we have, or it's powerless to prevent it. So either way, it's useless, and you start bringing out comments like that, and it definitely gets the constitutional conservatives triggered. They become snowflakes in that sense. But it's establish some good dialogue between me and some people, and kind of, maybe I brought them a little bit closer to libertarianism. Um, maybe not, but some people seem to be open to the message that when you get to dialogue with them. So, but then, like you said, sometimes seems like you're just beating your head against the wall, and it's like this guy's probably a bot. He's probably not even real. So,
Well, sometimes I think the best way, the only way I've been able to tell if they're bots or not is if they reply to me.
yeah,
Like if you reply to them, they don't say anything back. They're like, "Oh, okay, this wasn't even a person."
right,
Now we'll have somebody, and it's happened a lot lately too with the Bad Roman Facebook page, where more and more people are coming into it that aren't really they don't know what to make of the Bad Roman project. They might see a post that they like, and then they'll follow for a little while. Then we'll say something that pisses them off, and they stop following us. But they'll still come back and comment on the thread sometimes. And we had one the other day that blew up, and this guy was just blowing up the thread. Somebody's like, "Why don't you just block him?" I said, "No, man, this dude is pushing the algorithm
yep, yep,
like
exactly,
crazy right now." And I just call them my little algorithms at this point.
yep.
I don't care if they hate me.
No,
Keep talking,
yep,
keep
yep.
talking.
It helps Al Gore's
All right.
rhythm, definitely.
Of course, rhythm. I never heard that before. That's great. All right. Now let's get back to the song. There was another line. I can't remember which part of the song it was in. It may be further down and I don't want to go too far down the song, but the line was, "The law of love breaks their chains."
The law of love, it breaks their chains. Their power's dust, his truth remains.
I love that so much because I think that what people, especially Christians, need to understand is that we're commanded to love our neighbors and our enemies. It's hard to sometimes, but if we're showing love, what did Jesus say? Where they will know you love me when you love each other. I'm paraphrasing. Probably getting that wrong, but you know which one I'm talking about.
Right.
And so when we show that kind of love for one another, and even to people who are disagreeing with us, it really takes it really takes the state out of it, to where they're losing control when people are working with one another, working for each other, whenever they can't control it because we love one another. You know what I'm saying? So I love that line so much.
You're right. Most of our interaction with people is voluntary. It's when the state is involved that it's not voluntary. That's when coercion and guns to people's heads, maybe not literally, but ultimately it'll get there. It'll start figuratively, but then it'll get literally if you resist enough, there will be a gun to your head ultimately.
Right.
So yeah, love is I think that the Christians' best alternative to coercion. I mean, it really has it's hand in hand with voluntarism, Christianity based on the love of Christ. And Jesus said that's the greatest commandment: love God and love others. I mean, if we could get a hold of that,
Yeah.
I think we'd be all right. And that's really what the non-aggression principle, and that's what libertarianism, it's what anarchy, um, natural law, it's what it's all based on, is that idea. Maybe you're an atheist, you don't have to love God, but that's a personal thing. Nobody needs to know whether you love God or not. You know what I mean? You can make it known, but nobody's forcing you to love God. So even if you're an atheist, you fit within this voluntary society. Um, Love God, you can choose to do that or not, and love others. If we're all loving each other, and that means you can't love someone if you're forcing them to do
Yeah.
something, whether by you're voting for them to have to be forced to do it or whatnot. And that's really what the crux of the argument of anarchy and Christianity versus every other thing else comes down to, is consent and voluntarism. Everything else is, especially when you talk about the state, is coercion and force, where Christianity and voluntarism is, hey, do you want to? Like Jesus, he gives us the invitation. Do you want to follow me? Or he asks them, follow me. But it's not a command. He's not commanding them, you have to follow me. He's saying, follow me. And so it's up to us to make the choice. So it's a voluntary contract to follow Christ. It's a voluntary contract that that governs 95% of our life. It's that 5% that we have to deal with the state that we don't live by those principles.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I've said it over and over on the show too that I see these voluntary interactions out at farmers markets all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah.
like we don't know how to do this. We do it every day.
We do it every day.
We do it
Right.
every day. You know, and in this we're going to publish this episode the week that I'm traveling to Arizona. I got invited to speak at Larkin Rose's event, Approaching Humanity. He's got a new book coming out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And what the overwhelming theme of this is atheists and Christians can live along with one another, and we don't have to force our religion on atheists, and we can still get along
Right.
with one another. I mean, I've had atheists on the show, and I think one thing he's wanting to do is have back-to-back talks for me and a friend of his who is an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to show that we can get along with one another. We can live voluntarily with one another,
Right.
and we don't have to hate each other. We don't have to commit violence towards one another. You
Right.
know, and I think that's a great message to get out to people. That not saying that I wouldn't want atheists to come to know the love of Christ.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to beat them over the head with the Bible either.
Yeah.
When was that ever worked? It didn't work. It didn't work with me.
Yeah. And that it's something that's needed. I think Christians need to be okay with having an atheist friend. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why we put these walls up where if somebody's an atheist, oh gosh, I've got to hold a crucifix up and I've got to slink away. Why? We're supposed to show the love of Christ to the people who would need Christ the most, and according to a biblical standard, that's the one who says there's no God, or maybe that more agnostic. They don't know if there's a God. Then that's who we should be showing the love of Christ to the most. So I don't know why we're so scared of them, and showing that we have common ground through voluntarism and through consent. I think it's great common ground. I think we need more atheists and Christians to come together in our movement as far as libertarianism, anarchy is concerned.
Yeah, and one thing I've discovered when talking to an atheist or agnostic who also claims to be a voluntarist or anarchist, a lot of them, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them have had some kind of upbringing in the church,
Mhm.
and they were burned.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that Christians need to pay attention to, because Christians are the ones that are maybe causing these people to walk away from Christ because they don't see Jesus, like, especially when it comes, like we're talking about in this song, when it comes to the state and Christianity, when you're inflicting violence through voting and putting people in power over your neighbor, that's not anything that Jesus instructed us to do ever
Right.
whatsoever. Matter of fact, he spoke against it.
Yeah.
Matthew 20:25 through 28, he said, "Not so among you."
Right.
It's right there in the Bible.
And we need to do a better job of communicating that, because so many atheists that I talk to, I've got one that, yeah, he's kind of my algorithm guy. He always going to jump on anything to Kingdom Tuesday. He's going to jump on it, and we always have some good discussions. Sometimes he can be a little mean, and sometimes I'll throw it back to him. But like, he's an atheist, and he always going to remind me that Christianity is force, and Christianity is, he wants to mix it with the state. And he always brings up Romans 13. I'm like, I've hashed out Romans 13 with him till I'm about blue in the face. But, I think these are discussions that we need to have, and the atheists need to see us as more of the anarchist atheists need to see us more of, we're not going to try to create a theocracy. We're not going to try to use Christ to control other people. This is voluntary.
Right.
This is our relationship with Christ is voluntary. Our relationship with anyone else on this earth will be voluntary, and sometimes I think atheists, they have this idea that because of the Christianity that they have seen that's so mixed with the state, they think all Christians are that way. And all we care about is getting the government on our side so we can tell everybody what to do, and they have some valid points in that, because there is a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
But we have to kind of distinguish those Christians from us,
Right. Yeah. And we're intentional about that with this project and getting those folks on the show to talk to them about it, try to hash some of this stuff out. And I think it's some of them are kind of walk away from it refreshed on that not all Christians are who they think they are. You know, that all Christians are they're not behave. Not all of us are behaving like what they see the church doing these days, and a lot of that I think is the is caused by the entanglement with the state, with the Christians' entanglement with the state. Because man, and I did it. Christians can lose principles very quickly, almost immediately when their tribe's winning, when their tribe's in power. You know, when they're preferred maniacs in power, they can change principles very quickly, and nothing they're saying sees anything or shows anything that Christ taught us to how to behave. It's so strange to me how talking with other Christians about this stuff, they just gloss over it. They just gloss over. You could share scripture after scripture after scripture. You could share early church father quotes with them, and they just gloss over it. And it's so frustrating to me sometimes. But I do see a lot of people kind of waking up to what we're talking about and realizing, you know what, maybe we should try something different. I had a guy, I don't remember the post now, but I shared a post yesterday about with this whole salsa thing, trying to get that going and jumping through state hoops is that's not freedom.
No.
And this guy came back and goes, well, the state exists, and we need to learn how to we need to control the government. I'm like, how is that working out for you? The government literally means control. You know, so you're not going to control the government. The government's not designed to be controlled. The government's designed to control you. And I told him, I said, the only other option is anarchy.
Yes.
It's either statism or anarchy. There's no in between. I mean, I guess you could be a minarchist, but you're still a statist as a minarchist. You're not fully into that anarchy side.
Yeah.
Then he said anarchy will lead into slavery. And I was like, dude, statism is literally slavery. Wake up. And then I said, listen, statism and anarchism. Let's forget about those two words for a second right now. I said, you're a Christian. What did Jesus say? And I shared that Matthew 20, 25 through 28 with him. I haven't checked if he's responded or not, but forget about anarchy. And I understand what you're saying. I understand what a lot of Christian anarchists are saying, that to be a Christian, you need to be an anarchist, you know, and I agree. But so many people have such a problem with that word that they can't get past it.
Oh yeah. It's been conditioned to mean chaos. That's just what society has turned that word into. And it doesn't mean that. That's not what it means. And how do we not have chaos now under the system to say that it's necessary and it's the only way? Like, how is this not chaos? When you tax people 30, if you live in New York City, maybe 40% of your income. So you're only a 40% slave.
Yeah.
How is this not chaos?
You may know this. Have you heard of that book? And you probably have heard of the book, the Anarchist Cookbook.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not know this about that book, but did you know that book was written by the state, somebody in the state? Like, did you know that? I found this out very recently.
That's
I was like,
interesting.
well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, probably to see who. It was probably a thing where they see who downloaded it and then they put them on a list. So I'm probably on the list. Thank you.
I think my stepdad wanted me to read it at one point. I never did read it, but I did look into it. I'm like, I don't think this is what we're talking about here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely just about making certain things and not really about principles.
Yeah. There was another line, and I didn't write it down, but there's a line in the song about Leviathan. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that out? Because there's some that I thought that was a very, very cool line as well in the song.
Yeah, it's the second verse. Second verse, I wanted to kind of not be the same structure as the first verse. I've been experimenting. Like the first album was the outlines were very conventional. In this one, I was trying to change some stuff up and different things. So verse 2, I'm still under the same idea of contrasting things, you know. So it starts out, they say obey, I say resist. Leviathan roars, but I'm not his. The meek inherit, not the strong. The kingdom's here, but it don't belong. I mean, not the best English there, but it works with the song.
They say obey, I say resist. Leviathan roars, but I'm not his. The meek inherit, not the strong. The kingdom's here, but it don't belong.
So the whole thing is contrasting, you know, obey, resist. Leviathan, well, I'm not his. Meek, not the strong. The kingdom's here. I mean, the kingdom, regardless of how you see Bible prophecy, I think God's kingdom is at work.
Yeah.
Whether you think it's here in a literal form or whether it's coming, that's not what I'm trying to say there. I'm saying it's at work in the world, and it doesn't belong. I mean, we're pilgrims passing through,
Right.
and so yeah, that's the whole point of that verse is still just kind of contrasting between Caesar and Christ.
I think it's perfect too, because that's really what the Bad Roman Project is about as well. Is just showing a different side from what you're used to seeing.
Yeah, and your show was definitely inspiration for this whole thing. I mean, we even talked about musical styles, and you mentioned how you liked a little more of the southern rock and country and bluegrass and stuff like that. And I was like, I didn't want to make it a bluegrass song, so I did the next best thing. So I mean, you're all over this thing as far as inspiration and your show, and yeah. So I appreciate the work you do.
Well, I appreciate that. One thing I noticed, I didn't listen to the whole album yet, but one thing I noticed when listening to some of the different songs is they all have a different feel to them, like a different sound to them.
Yeah.
The song "But I'm Extreme" is dope. I mean, it was just, and you said that's my baby. That song's your baby. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that a little bit too, because in contrast, like with the Bad Roman song, where you're contrasting Caesar and Jesus. In this one, it's so funny with the conversations that we were just talking about when we get into with other Christians, when they start seeing anarchy or viewing voluntarism as chaos, you're literally describing the state. Everything that they lay down as a defense of their statism or and trying to push back against anarchy, they're literally describing the state almost to a T.
Mm-hmm.
And when you point it out to them, it's another one of those things where it's like they're in a trance. Like they just can't get it moving in their head that what they're doing is describing the state. But that's what I loved about this song so much.
But you can tax a man to death and call it civic duty. You can bomb a foreign village, call it bringing peace and beauty. You can lock a man in a cage for the way he doles his pain and print the money into nothing for your gain. But I'm extreme. I'm extreme.
Yeah, and this one came out of just dealing with Christian people, evangelicals. When I'm at a church situation and they find out about Ancap Tim, not Tim Wade, the guy that goes to church with them, but they find out about Ancap Tim. And I do not push that at church. I've never done that, never will, and definitely won't because of the history of that. Like every time someone finds out about it, some people are fine with it, and I can see them. I'm kind of pulling them to libertarianism, a little bit. But others, man, they can't take it, and it's just like to them, I am in rebellion against God because I don't think government is good. I look at government as evil. They get hung up on Romans 13. And I just it gets so tired of that whole argument of if you rebel against the government, you're rebelling against God. And this hearing that you're so extreme, like you think taxation is theft? That's just crazy. That's just so extreme. And so I was like, well, let me turn this on them.
Yeah.
They say I'm dangerous, I'm radical, I'm lost. That freedom has a price, and I don't know the cost.
Let me write a song where the chorus, I'm basically making my argument that you're okay with taxing a man to death, and you're calling it civic duty. You're okay with bombing a foreign village and calling it bringing peace and beauty. You lock a man in a cage for the way he dulls his pain and print the money out of nothing for your gain. This is all okay, but I'm the extreme guy. Yeah, okay, right. It was kind of a way to, I just needed to say it in a poetic way to get my frustrations out. That's really what this song is all about.
Well, it's my second favorite song on the album. I'm a little partial to the Bad Roman, obviously, but
yeah, hey, you should be. You're all over that one.
Spice up your day with a taste so fine. Bad Roman salsa gonna blow your mind through the maze of politics where people can't see. Homemade salsa gonna make you feel free. No king but Christ living in your soul. Bad Roman salsa helps the podcast grow. Pick up your Bible, put the politics down. Support the show with every bite and salsa with us through this crazy ride. Bad Roman salsa and no king but Christ. BadRomanSalsa.com, BadRomanSalsa.com. Grab a jar, try a bite. Back to the show and back to Christ.
Like I said, a lot of the songs have a different feel to them. And you said, you know, when channeling your inner Guns N' Roses for the Bad Roman song, there's another song on there called "The Enemy of the State." Who were you trying to channel there when you did this song? Because it sounded nothing like anything that I'd heard.
Yeah, no, this one definitely stretched me. I was trying with this album. The first album was definitely more singer-songwriter, classic rock, you know, middle of the road type stuff. And what I noticed was that I wasn't attracting really any normies, you know, I could people in the libertarian community would like the message, you know, and they would even like the music, but it wasn't like ear candies type stuff. And so I wanted this album and the typical like musician be like, oh, so you sold out, you know, like, well, like, okay, yeah. So what? I'm trying to make something that people would want to listen to in ear candy and something that just gets stuck in somebody's ears and have a chorus and a hook that's like, so like it just gets stuck in their head and they just want to sing it all the time. So then I was experimenting with different genres. And so I was like, I'm just going to do a bunch of different genres and just throw a bunch of crap at the wall and see what sticks. And so, yeah, this is almost like a new metal.
Yeah.
It's maybe even like a dub step. It's weird. It's my first attempt at like rap. Like the verses are pretty much rapping, you know, hopefully it doesn't sound horrible. And then, you know,
well, you're definitely no Tupac. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm definitely no Tupac. You know, you can look at my complexion and tell that. But who was the new metal band of like the early 2000s? Limp Bizkit, you know, it's kind of like that rap. It would be on. It's like a white boy new metal rap is what it is. I figured that'd be about the only kind of rap that I could pull off. So it's kind of like fast talking, is what it is. It's not even really rap.
They call it governance, but let's be plain. A monopoly on violence with a different name. Not the people, not society, a separate beast. Living off the productive wild they feast. Consent manufactured in the classroom halls. Intellectuals on payroll behind the walls. Wrapping up coercion in the common good. Taking what they want from every neighborhood.
That was just me kind of stretching myself and just be like, hey, you know, why not? and the inspiration behind that was Murray Rothbard's Enemy of the State. And I read that book and I'm like, you know, it'd be cool to take the concepts of this book, you know, where they call it governance, but it's really just a monopoly on violence with a different name, you know, and take these terms and these definitions of what the state is in Rothbard's book and put it to like this new metal kind of rap up front in the chorus so I can get a bunch of stuff out there quick. Because that's one thing I've noticed about rap, that if they want to be able to spread a message, I mean, they can do it really well because they can put so much content and so much lyrical value out so quick in a rap type situation instead of having to sing a hook on it with a melody. And you know, you can't always sing that fast, but you can talk or rap faster. And so I was like, that's really the only way I can get all this information about what the state is and how it's an enemy and how it's labeling me an enemy. That's the only way I can get this out is kind of this format. So that was kind of, you know, it's kind of how it was born. The chorus is simple. It's not many words in that chorus at all, but the verses are definitely word heavy. And so it fit that new metal kind of Limp Bizkit
Yeah.
kind of genre. Like I said, I'm just throwing stuff at the wall. Seeing what's
Yeah. I think it's cool. I think it's cool how you mix it up throughout the album. This other song, and this song had me in stitches. It was the AIPAC song.
Oh yeah.
So, and I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you do like a teaser for this where like you were singing in a choir?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I thought I wanted to make sure. Yeah, I thought I know I saw that, and it was so funny. And this song doesn't sound like anything else on the album either.
No, I mean, they're all kind of their own thing. They all kind of, not a lot of them sound like they even belong on an album together, but yeah, APAC. I recorded a video because it's kind of like it's a call and response. Like I'm asking a question, and then there's this choir of me. I'm singing all these vocals in there, doing like tenor part, baritone part, um, even throw a bass in there. So it's like this choir answering every time, and the answer is always APAC. No matter what the question is, the answer is APAC. So it's kind of got this Paul Simon kind of Southern gospel kind of feel to it, maybe even a little black gospel where there's a call and response.
Who sways the preacher in your hometown? AIPAC. Who blesses the trips when they're handed down? AIPAC. Who funds the fire and calls it peace? AIPAC. Who blocks the call for a full release? AIPAC. Who guards the votes on the Senate floor? AIPAC. Who says it's war and not something more? AIPAC.
Because I was real proud of it when I got it done, and so I was like, maybe I'll get AI to make a choir full of Ancap Tims, and then I'll because I knew there was a software where you could take a picture and you could make the voice move to your voice, and so I uploaded the choir section of that song in there and kind of made it work, and generally it had a really good response on X. Scott Horton even shared it, which was just like, oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Who Scott Horton is, yeah. And he ended up following me, and I don't have many followers on X, and so but he's one of them, and he ended up resharing it. I've tried to get Dave Smith to share it a couple times. Tried to get Thomas Massey to share it during his campaign. I think that's why he lost, because he didn't share my song. But because I mean, if you're gonna go down swinging, right?
Right.
Have a good anti-APAC song. But the negative thing that I heard from a couple of people was like, that's AI slop, and because they saw the choir behind me that was clearly AI. I'm not trying to hide it. It's a bunch of me.
Yeah.
Like it's 6 different me's behind me in a choir loft. Duh, it's AI. Like, so but they get in their head that they see that aspect of it, then it must all be AI. The whole song's AI. No, I can show you where I sing every vocal, you doofus. Like, and I played the bass and I played the guitar and I programmed the drums, but I did program them, all these things. I'm like, it's not AI. I just used an AI aspect of it. I get the same thing with the when I do Spooner Sundays. I'm using Lysander Spooner, old picture of him, and I bring it to life, and he does a Lysander Spooner quote. So it's almost like you're hearing Lysander in his own words, even though we don't know what he sounded like. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
The guy kind of sounds like a little bit like Bill Clinton, he's got a little bit of a Southern, and I don't even know if Lysander was Southern, But anyway, I get the same responses every once in a while on that. I was like, AI slop, and I'm like, it had one 10-second quote that was AI. Like, shut up. Like, I don't know why people are so opposed to anything. Like, I don't have the budget to hire an animator to do this stuff. I don't make any money doing this crap. I'm just doing it for fun. And the easiest way I can recreate this stuff is to use AI. So shut up and shove it up your butt,
Yeah.
Anyway.
AI is one thing. I think it's it's a tool, and I think it can be used for good as well.
Now, if I was doing whole AI songs, I think that's fine. If you're wanting something for a specific project, there's nothing wrong with even doing that. Now, I'm not doing that because, I mean, that's the artist in me, is being able to sing my own stuff and write my own stuff and figure out the chords, and that's what I like doing. So I'm not going to let AI do all that. But like you just said, it's a tool.
Yeah.
Speaking
of AIPAC, I don't know if you saw this video of Ben Shapiro. It was a video of him when he was a lot younger, like when he was a kid, and he was standing in front of, he was talking trash to a speed bag, like boxers use to train. Did you see this?
I have seen.
He's talking trash and he punches the speed bag and the speed bag comes back and hits him in the nose
Yep.
and
Yeah.
he runs off crying. No, there is not a person on this planet that deserved that more than Ben Shapiro did.
Oh man, Ben Shapiro. Yeah.
That
Oh,
guy.
I'd love for him to hear hear AIPAC. I'd love for him to hear that song.
He just called you anti-Semitic.
Yeah. Anti-Semitic.
That's their go-to. You're anti-Semitic if you don't agree with everything they're saying.
Yep.
You talk about some of these different projects that you work on. You were kind enough to add the Bad Roman salsa to your Free Market Friday one time, which
Yeah.
I thought was very neat. I really appreciate that. Are you seeing? We've kind of talked about this a little bit throughout the show, but because you're reaching probably a whole different audience than I am with this podcast and with the project as a whole, are you seeing any kind of? There's always gonna be pushback. Are you seeing anybody kind of changing their minds? Have you had anybody come to you and be like, "Hey, what you're talking about has really got me thinking about different things and starting to see things different"? Are you seeing that on what kind of scale are you seeing that on?
I mean, it's not a huge scale, but I'm definitely seeing it. Especially with Trump getting us involved in the Iran war. That's a big one. And Trump doing nothing on the Epstein files, like that went nowhere. A lot of people that were Republican or leaning or that were libertarian that voted for Trump, which that blew my mind that libertarians actually voted for this idiot. But they did. They were really kind of, I think, with the assassination attempt, libertarians can easily be just they can get drummed up in the whole America, and that's why that whole UFC fight was probably brilliant because you probably brought a bunch of them back just because it's like, yeah, hoorah, the planes flying over the White House, it's just like they're just so easily captured by this patriotism and America, America.
Yeah.
And so you saw a lot of that with Trump, and they voted for him, libertarians. And so I have seen that I've had conversations with people that I have pulled them back from that, and it wasn't all me. It was Trump being Trump. well, what did it? A lot of it. And then even Republicans, I've noticed them coming over to libertarianism. And different conversations I've had with them, they'll maybe end with, I can't go full anarchy, but there might be a lot to minarchism and libertarianism. Just leave people alone for the most part. We still got to tax them for the roads, but just leave people alone for the most part. And like, hey, I will take that over the dogmatic MAGA supporter any day, because
Yeah.
there's some common ground there. Hey, I can maybe convince them over some time that taxation is actually theft, no matter if it's building something you want or not. It's wrong to steal money from people against their will, but yeah, so I've seen some of that. It's not at the scale that I would like to see, but I've definitely been encouraged by that, especially since January and this Trump administration just not doing anything near what they said they were going to do with the whole Epstein thing and the Iran war.
Well, have you noticed too that with this new so-called Iran deal that's supposed to end the war and stuff, which is not going to happen as long as has any say in it because they're going to just keep bombing. And Iran's not going to agree to any of this as long as Israel's bombing Lebanon. I mean, they've already made that very clear as part of the deal.
Right.
But have you noticed recently, like folks like Levin and some of these other neocons are coming out and pushing back against this deal? There's been a lot. I've been seeing a lot of that lately. Like a lot of the neocons are coming out in force against Trump. So I'm wondering if they're going to try and get in his head again and make it even worse.
Yeah.
Because I think he's easily manipulated by these folks.
Oh, definitely. And I think the nation of Israel has a lot of blackmail on Trump. Just like AIPAC is very powerful, and I don't think they would let someone become president if they didn't have a lot of blackmail on them and be able to control them. Because, I mean, Trump did the thing that no president before him has done. I mean, Bush got bogged down in Iraq. He wasn't going to go to Iran. So, I mean, even if he wanted to and Dick Cheney wanted to, they weren't going to do that. But Obama, man, they pressed him like a major pressure on Obama to go to war with Iran. No, not doing it. Biden, well, I don't know if they tried too much with him. Geriatric Joe, I don't know. But then here comes Trump, who campaigns the whole time about not doing it, and boom, as soon as he gets in, we're attacking Iran. So they definitely control him. I think a little bit of like him and Vance kind of saying little snarky comments against Israel now is probably just controlled opposition. It's almost like
Yeah.
because people were beginning to lose faith in the state. Hey, look, this is not even our government. It's controlled by a foreign government, and so they need to change that narrative where it's like, okay, yeah, our strong leaders, they're standing up to that foreign government now. They're standing up to Israel. So I think it's controlled opposition. And I use that term lightly because there's so many in our community that call everything controlled opposition. Even Ron Paul is controlled opposition to some people. And I don't know. I can't go that far. And I don't think everything is a psyop. But JD Vance definitely, to me, is controlled opposition. So even if Trump is serious about this deal, and I think he is, because the oil reserves are going to run out in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then where are you going to get the rest of the oil from? I mean, the majority of the oil, especially in Europe, comes from that Strait of Hormuz. So Trump is motivated to make this deal because it's all going to come down on him.
Yeah.
And he's already made the United States military look like just chumps. I mean, you can't even go in and handle, according to y'all, it's like a third-rate country. No, you can't. You're not the baddest boy on the block like you want everybody to believe. And so you need to end this thing as quick and quietly as you can, because you don't have the might to go in and totally squash him unless you drop a nuke on him or something. I think Trump is motivated to make this deal, but Israel is motivated to not make it work. And so the reason Iran hasn't wanted to come to the table with Donald Trump is because they want Trump to restrain Israel in Lebanon. And he's not been able to do that. And Israel knows this. And so Israel knows all they have to do to make this deal fall apart is to keep bombing Lebanon.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing. Like, this supposed deal was done. And then a day later, the strait is back closed again, And it's like, what are you going to do about it? Supposedly the greatest military on earth, America. Yeah. We got the planes flying over the White House, but you can't do nothing about Iran.
Yeah.
They shut them that Strait of Hormuz down. And
they bit off more than they could chew on this one for sure. And I don't think they knew what they were doing, obviously, because Iran's probably been planning for this for years anyway.
There's also an interesting parallel. This just now hit me. I did this story with Wheels of War. I didn't write this article, and I can't even remember who wrote it now. It's leaving me, but it's a real good article about 70 years ago, Israel got Britain into another war, or a war in the past with Egypt. And Egypt cut off the Suez Canal. They sunk a bunch of ships in the Suez Canal. And it caused Britain to look like chumps to the world. Like, they were the British Empire at the time, 70 years ago. And the pound went sailing down. And it basically ended the pound, and so then you had the euro come into flourishing, and so it was effectively the end of the British Empire. This war that Israel got them into in Egypt, and it's like it's a crazy parallel to what's happening now with the United States of America in Iran. You got another strait that's being closed, not the Suez Canal, but the Strait of Hormuz. And you got another world empire that's being looked like a chump on the world stage. And it's almost like, is Israel doing this on purpose? They use Britain to establish their homeland, with the Balfour Declaration and all that. And then they're like, oh, we've used you up. We'll kind of discard you now. It's almost like, are they doing the same thing with America? We've used you up. Now, hey, die your little slow, painful death over here. It's interesting parallel.
Yeah, and you're watching too with all these maniacs in Washington right now. They're starting to brag about oil prices dropping and and the stock market's booming again and all this other garbage. And I'm thinking, well, none of this the oil prices wouldn't have been a problem had you not started this war.
Exactly.
It's absurd to me that people start bragging about that, and their supporters will start pointing this out too. I was talking to some guys at work the other day, and there's one on super, super MAGA, and the other one, I don't know if he's super, super MAGA, but he'll talk about Trump from time to time, and they were trying to convince me that inflation is already coming down and all of it's getting fixing to get better. And I'm like, have you been to the grocery store recently? I mean, come on, man. What are you watching? Because and I know one of them for a fact, all he does is watch Fox News.
Fox News.
We report, you
Yeah.
decide.
It's almost like you have a house, and I'm working on a house for someone, and I knock their whole side of their house out of the house, and their house collapses in. And then I build it back because it was my responsibility for busting the house. And I'm like, man, look how great that looks. And me just going on and on and on about the house. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, if I wouldn't have knocked it down, I wouldn't have had to build it back. Like that's the whole thing with this oil prices and everything. Like, Trump going on about, oh, the strait's open now. Well, who shut the strait? I mean, what caused the strait to be shut? You attacking Iran. Like,
Yeah.
you're an idiot. And the fact that people can't see through that. I mean, you have the left sees through it now because it's not their guy, but it's like the right, because it is their guy. It's like they're just so oblivious to it.
Yeah. It's pretty absurd. And it's pretty depressing sometimes to watch it all kind of unfold and how people can still stay stuck in their brainwashed mentality when it comes to this stuff. Instead of just step back and look at it for what it is, it's the belief in authority causes so much trouble among just people living in America, and it's causing all this trouble across the planet too. I don't know how much you listen to Tucker Carlson, and I'll listen to him every once in a while. I don't know if he's like you were talking about controlled op earlier or whatever. I don't know if he is, but I do like some of the points he makes when it comes to Israel and this. He said something the other day. I can't remember who he was interviewing, but he said in his dialogue prior to the interview, he said for so long America has controlled the Middle East. He said now Iran controls the Middle East.
Yeah.
This is what you started, and this is what you caused.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing all of that, he might want to brag about oil prices dropping or the stock market booming, but in the process of doing all of this, what was it, 13 American soldiers were killed.
Well, 13 bases. Yeah, 13 bases were destroyed too.
And not to mention the children's school that was bombed by America. So you killed 130 children in the process, and now you're bragging about oil prices. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, some people got to wake up at some point. It's like, this is not worth it. Killing people to try and get your way. And they're just psychopaths, all of them.
Yeah, exactly right.
Red or blue, it's the same contract. Different ties, same donor stack. Call it alliance, call it a pact, but follow the money and trace it back. Red or blue, it's the same contract. Different ties, same donor stack. Call it alliance, call it a pact, but follow the money and trace it back.
Well, why don't you go ahead and plug whatever you want to plug, and then I'll let you get out of here.
Yeah, if you want to find out more information and keep up with me, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on X, I'm on YouTube. Best way to find all those links is go to ancaptim.com. No www.ancaptim, just ancaptim.com. All those links are there. This new album that we've talked about is going to come out in mid to late July. And I'm excited about this one. I think there's some, as people have told me, there's some bangers on this one. So be sure to, look for that on Spotify, Apple Music, all those streaming services. It'll be on all those. You can go ahead and follow me because my first album is on there already. Go ahead and follow me, and you can be, kind of notified when the new album drops. And then I'll be at the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival on August the 9th. I believe it's the 9th. Maybe it's the 8th. See, it's the Saturday, whichever one that is. But the whole event goes on from August the 6th to the 9th in Michigan. And so if you're out in that area of the country and it's not too far, I'd love for you to come out and see me play, do a set there out at that festival. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, follow me on socials and check my music out. And I do those weekly shorts. That's a good way to kind of keep up with what's going on with Ancap Tim and try to cover a lot of different bases of anarchy, as far as Lysander Spooner and consent, voluntarism, and the Christian angle, the Christian anarchist angle, and all that.
That's really cool. You're going to go play there. Are you going to play the Bad Roman song?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. That's cool.
I'm gonna try to get some footage, so I'll have some footage for social media as well after the fact.
Awesome. When you get all this stuff, when you get all of it done, just let me know and I'll share it around our socials as well. So
Definitely, thank you.
that'll be cool. We've got 2 songs now. Ari Spivey from Failed Kingdoms did the one song we used to play at the beginning of the show. We've moved it to after the show now so we could play more of it. Awesome song. I had somebody comment on our YouTube channel the other day wanting to know where they could find this song, and I had to go dig it up on SoundCloud, but
Nice.
I sent it to them that way. But so now we got a couple songs. Maybe we can play with both of them throughout the rest of the Bad Roman project if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Definitely okay with that.
Perfect. Well, Tim, I appreciate you coming back on the show and doing this. I always enjoy getting to talk to you, and I'm glad that we've made some connections. This is the second time I've got to talk to you, but one of these days we have to get together in real life and hang out. And
Yeah,
I'm not going
definitely.
to come cut hay. I don't want to do that. If I'm gonna go visit, I'm not going to work.
I promise. Just don't come during hay season, and you will not have to do any hay.
Yeah, I've been watching some of those videos of yours too. It's pretty impressive. But yeah, I remember doing all that stuff when I was a kid. I'm just I don't want to do it anymore.
Yes, I never did it as a kid. I think that's why it's kind of attracted to me now. I have a friend that's like kind of the same way. He's like, I did all that when I was a kid. Like I have no interest in doing it now.
Yeah, you mentioned something about raising some rams for meat, and I've had lamb one time.
Mhm.
I was in Kansas City, and they had some lamb ribs. Honestly, it tasted like
Yeah.
ribs. Like there wasn't really any distinct flavor to it being from a lamb.
Yeah, I don't, especially if you get them younger and they're not, 2 and 3 years old, which is technically mutton. But a lot of times that's what you get in the States, where people in Europe with a little more refined taste towards lamb, they generally butcher them around a year or less.
Yeah,
And I think it's a milder meat. It's
yeah,
not as gamey,
for sure.
and that's what I do.
All right, buddy. Well, I'm gonna let you get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Father's Day. Thanks for spending some time with me on Father's Day, and
Yeah, no problem.
get back to your kids and your wife, and we'll do this again. I'm sure. See you, buddy. Hey, folks. We have set up a very simple way to donate to the Bad Roman Project through SpotFund.com. Just go to SpotFund and search No King But Christ. Just $5 or $10 a month will go a long way in helping us keep this project going and continue spreading the very basic message of No King But Christ. So if you like what we were doing and can find it within your budget, go to SpotFund.com and search No King But Christ, and you can set up monthly donations or even donate one time. Any and all donations help more than you know, and as always, any donations above production costs will go directly to charities in Memphis, Tennessee.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Bad Roman Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you find your podcasts to never miss an episode. And while you're at it, if you like what you heard, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, it really helps people find us. 100% of donations are given to local charities in Memphis, Tennessee. To learn more about the Bad Roman Project and to find show notes, please visit thebadroman.com.
No king but one, and his kingdom is not of this world. Rather serve God than humans. So what are you doing? You over there clutching your pearls. Conservative, liberal, or in the middle. If you belong to Christ, you know it is pitiful. Demons controlling the state of this pivotal biblical. We will not bow to the enemy. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. I'm just trying to live what he said. I'm just trying to live what he said. I ain't scared. I will take one to the head. Go ahead. I'm just trying to live what he said. I ain't scared. I will take one to the head. Go ahead. So it's safe to say that I'm bad. 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 Failed Kingdoms. The Bad Roman Project. Let's go.